Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Power Review Season 5 Episode 6, A Changed Man. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and thumbs up this video and share this video. Thank you for watching me. Now nothing really didn't happen in this episode, so I'm going to try to keep it brief and basically hit on the key points because I don't want this video to be too long and lose your attention. So we begin where we left off last episode with Ghost going over to Angela's house. He's basically go over there and confess to her that he loved her, and the reason that he broke up with her wasn't because of Tasha, the kids, or anything like that. It was because that her life was being threatened and he wanted to save her. Now I can't remember if he's telling the truth or not because so much stuff be going on and happening. I'm trying to think who threatened her. I don't know, was it Milan? I can't remember. I don't know, but he said her life was threatened, and that kind of made her feel better because she probably was thinking he left her to go be with Tasha, the kids, and all that stuff. But it reassured her that he actually still loves her. That's what I took for the conversation when she had like a sigh of relief or whatever. So basically he ended up asking if he could stay the night, and she said she'll fix the couch for him because I thought they was going to like make out and have sex like they usually do, but they didn't. He was on the couch and she was in the bed, and both of them were tossing and turning like all night long. You can tell that they wanted each other, but it didn't happen. So the next morning when she got up, I thought he was going to be gone, but he was actually still there. And she was like, oh, good morning. Like, she was shocked that he was still there too. And then she was about to confess something to him too. I believe she was going to say that she was working with Tasha because she was like she was holding something from him. But then we get a knock at the door, and it's Tasha. And Ghost is looking like, what the hell? Like, basically like any normal person would. Like, my wife is working with my mistress. Because basically Tasha came in there and she was like, what the hell are you doing here? And then he asked her what she was doing there. And she was like, they came there to discuss Tariq. And she been working with Angela and all. And Ghost was looking like, what? Why didn't you tell me? She was like, because I couldn't trust you. I couldn't trust you that you wouldn't make it worse. Which was kind of true because Ghost is off his A game right now, so whatever he's doing, every single thing, it seems like it's getting worse and worse, especially the thing with Tate and all this other crap that he got going on to Ressie. It just keeps getting worse. So he was like, okay, so I'll trust both of y'all to handle this. So he took a step back, which is not typical Ghost. Usually he want to take over the situation, control everything, but he actually did take a step back, and they were discussing Tariq and how they came over there asking about the gun and all this, because Ghost didn't know all this, because you remember, he was drunk. He missed the party. Angela didn't know all this either, and she was like, okay, so since they're questioning and had like a warning stuff, they're going to probably call you in for questioning, interrogation or whatever, so I need to prep you. And then so basically she ended up prepping Tasha about what was going on. Ghost ended up leaving, and then she was promising to Tasha, was like, Tasha, I promise you I'm not sleeping with him again. Tasha was like, I don't care. And she was like, oh no, for real. And then Tasha was like, I'm for real too. She doesn't care. So I guess Tasha thinks she's in love with Terry Silver, but I don't know. We'll see if he's actually in love with her the way she thinks she's in love with him. But that was that. So when Ghost leave there, he calls Tariq, and Tariq ignore the phone call. He swiped to the right. Usually with the right, you answer the phone. The left, you deny it. But I don't know. But he left a message apologizing, talking about he wasn't himself and all this. You know, the typical Ghost stuff to try to get people back on his side. But Tariq didn't hear the voicemail. He just ignored the card or whatever. So he goes to see Proctor and talk about hypothetically if somebody took your gun and shot somebody with. And Proctor was like, oh no, not this shit again. Proctor is over it. Because every single episode, Ghost and Tommy is coming up with some new crap. And Proctor trying to get back right. And they keep coming with new stuff. Proctor is over it. And he was like, no, I don't even want. And then he was like, what's going on? He was like, Angela and Tasha. He was like, what? How did that happen? That what normal people want to know. How the fuck did that happen? And then Proctor was like, I don't even want to know. Proctor don't want to know nothing. Proctor don't want to know nothing that's going to jeopardize his law degree. Proctor just told him, to James, this could be a good thing for him to stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Which is true. He needs to just stay out of it. And then he meet with Tate in the club or whatever, him and Dre. And find out that he's getting audited by the IRS. And he was like, what? He was like, yeah, they always do this with typical black businesses and stuff like that. They audit the stuff. And he was like, he got to make some phone calls so the rich white people, he didn't say rich white people, but that's what he wanted to say, so the rich white people won't get upset. And then we get Dre. He meets with Alicia and tells her that Diego came to saw him, and Diego think that Dre set him up about some warehouse and some gun and all this stuff. And Alicia was like, well, I know you didn't do it. Yeah, because you did it, bitch. But she didn't say that. But she was like, and then she was like, well, why did Diego think Tommy and Ghost did it? And Dre looked like, I don't know. And she was like, I told you I don't want no war, Dre. Because if y'all go out to Ghost and Tommy, then the Serbians are going to come after us. And I forgot all about the Serbians was still protected by Tommy them. But then Ghost killed Milan. Isn't he a Serbian person? So I don't know. He cut the head off, but he still got the head still growing back. I don't, you know how you cut the head off on the top part, and the other body grow back. But they haven't mentioned the Serbians in a while. Is Jason a Serbian? I know he's in Chicago, but I don't know. Can't remember if he's one of the Serbians or not. So he go meet with Two-Bit and Spanky, and they talking. He went to tell them about how Cristobal's boys keep getting killed, and Two-Bit was like, okay, like they ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't care. That was basically what Two-Bit was saying. He's like, well, you should care about it because this is part of our organization. And then he was like, he think Cristobal trying to set him up because he think Cristobal told Diego that he planted the gun. And then he was like, well, how he gonna do that? And he was like, Cristobal them was in jail. I mean, Jimenez, Diego, and Alicia was in jail. Two-Bit and Spanky didn't know that, and they was like, in jail, and they're like, they out now. He was like, oh, okay. And then Cristobal walked in after they was talking about Cristobal, because two people like, I don't want to take out your boy. And every time he say your boy like that, Dre get mad. But y'all were boys like that until they made Cristobal your number 2, and you didn't like that. Then you started not liking the Cristobal. So I don't get like what is animosity coming from. Is he just mad because he got a number 2? Because before he was number 2, him and Cristobal was tight like this. So I don't know. And Cristobal came in up questioning him about his boys and all that. So he said he ain't got nothing to do with it. And then he started speaking Spanish and all that. So he was like, why you keep speaking Spanish? And they can't understand Spanish. And Cristobal was like, well, you should have learned Spanish if you wanted to run the streets. Which is a good thing, because one thing about Ghost knew Spanish. When he was meeting with Lobos them, when they was speaking that Spanish, Ghost knew what they was talking about. Because you ain't going to be talking in Spanish and I don't know you talk about you about to kill me or some shit like that. But Cristobal started walking away laughing and stuff, talking about, he said in Spanish, we run this world now, something like that. And he was walking away. So Dre came up with a solution to have Arturo be a translator for him. Because they was like, we need somebody that could translate Spanish. Dre and Spanky was like, maybe you need to get a Spanish app on your phone. Spanky is like the cover release. It's funny though, because he was dead ass serious. And then with Two-Bit and Dre always going back and forth, he was like, can y'all just stop this shit? Like, stop. Like, y'all getting on my nerves. I'm like Spanky. Like, y'all need to stop this foolishness. So he goes see Arturo, and Arturo was just like smirking when he was asking him about Diego and the gun and stuff. And he was like, what do you know? And he was like, wherever they say what he said, Lorenzo, whoever was head of the Toros Local, I think Lorenzo, before he got shot, they said Alicia used to always do pop up at the warehouse and dress that maze and stuff like that. So she could have been the one who planted the gun. And then that was Dre was like, oh yeah, she could have been the one who planted the gun. He started putting 2 and 2 together. So he told Arturo he got a meeting with Alicia later on and he need to show up. And then we get Tariq. Remember last episode, Tariq took his mama's pills. Tasha don't realize her pills gone yet. Maybe she ain't hooked on them like that. But and the roommate trying to buy the pills, $20 a pill, because he was like, oh, this is the good stuff. And my sister take this, and they for sale. And Tariq was like, no, they ain't for sale, no. And he kept on trying to buy them. Tariq told him no. And then Tariq goes outside, Kanan outside waiting on him, and he asking him about his dad. He like, I don't want to talk about that nigga. I say, he really sitting up here cussing and stuff. And then Kanan was like, yeah, look at all these rich white kids. This is a pill heaven, which is true. Those rich white kids in those private schools, they be all on drugs and sleeping with everybody, just acting crazy. Because they ain't got shit else to do but spend their parents' money and act a fool. But he get in the car, and they go to some white man house. Like, I guess this man was locked up with Kanan because he was like, we ain't in the cage no more. And Kanan had like a duffel bag. I'm assuming it was drugs. And the man was supposed to pay him a certain amount of money for it. And the man was like, well, the market done went down, so we may need to renegotiate. So Kanan like started like backing back, like, and he was like, what do you mean? He was like, we need to renegotiate the terms of the payment. He was like, renegotiate this. And he was just like beating the man down. And Tariq wasn't even like phased. Tariq was just standing there. And he just like, he took his drugs and he took the money. And he told Tariq to get the other little stack. And Tariq got the money and walked over the man and went back. And while they was leaving, the security man at the gate was trying to stop him. and was asking them, talking about they had a disturbance, what resident was they coming from, and they didn't say where they was coming from. And then Tariq made up some junk quick on his feet, was like, oh, I was coming from my teacher, I had to drop off philosophy paper. He was like, on what? He was like, Aristotle and some other crap. Then the man was like, what was your teacher's name? Tariq couldn't think of that, so he started like he was having a panic attack, an asthma attack. And then he just called out somebody's name. And then Kanan was like, well, do you have a brown bag? He was like, no, just go. And then Kanan was like, you know, they get shot for acting crazy like this, act like they about to have a panic attack or something like that. He was like, well, it got us through, didn't it? And he like, you want him to check the trunk with the trunk round low like that? And he like, you don't miss nothing, do you? So basically Tariq peeped that he got a bunch of drugs in the trunk, and the trunk just riding low. And then Kanan was like being all sentimental with Tariq. It was talking about his birthday and rain and all that stuff. He was like, well, at least you got Ray Ray. And then no, he said, well, at least your daddy killed Ray Ray. And he was like, he ain't do that shit. He was like, what? He was like, no, I did. He said, you did it? And Kanan was people like, what? And he started thinking it. He was like, you did the right thing. And I said, where's Kanan gonna go with this? Is he gonna try to blackmail Ghost and Tommy with this and Tariq with this? Like, Tariq, why is you revealing all of this? Yo, you already know your parents are trying to cover this up. You know Tasha is taking the rap. You know Ghost them gonna protect you. Like, I don't get it. I guess Tariq probably trying to think, oh, he's still lying about all his credit and all this stuff. But Tariq don't understand the big picture. Like, Kanan, how did Kanan get out of jail? I need to do a theory video on that. How did he get out of jail? Because wasn't he in there for life too? Just like Teresa did, he just randomly got out one day in season 2. They never said how Kanan got out of jail. And then when Tariq get back to Choke, his little roommate, he actually sold him the pills. He sold him the whole bottle. The boy like the whole bottle. He gave him a bunch of money. I couldn't tell how much money it was, but it was like a bunch of monies. And then he ended up texting Kanan, yeah, it's a pill. Can you get some more pills? It's a pill community up here. I was like, oh Lord, Tariq really about to be a drug dealer. Like, for real. It's in his blood. He can't help it. And then Kanan looked like Tariq, looking at Tariq like Tariq is the son that he never had. Like, he wanted his son to be in the game. But Sean ended up being like Ghost. And now Tariq ended up being like Kanan. Ain't this crazy? Then we get Tommy on the stakeout with Teresi. They sit in the car eating McDonald's. He talk about the sandwiches was good and all this crap. Since the same tastes the same since he been in and out. So he told Teresi, your eyes still work, old man? He's like, yeah, my eyes still work. And he was like, well, tell me if somebody comes out of this thing. He's like, what are you, who car is it? He's like, this is this motherfucker Dre. So Tommy get out of the car. I don't know if Teresi actually saw him, but he planted the tracker on Dre's car. Remember, that was one of my theories. Dre was the top person on my list who car he was going to put that track on, because he was going to lead him to the Jimenez, because he can't get close to the Jimenez, so that would make the most sense. So he placed the little tracker on Tommy's car, and that was the end of that. Then later on, we see him and Teresi like shooting pool or whatever, and Ghost came by, and he was like, oh, I need to talk to you, blah blah blah. And then Teresi, he saw Teresi, so he started talking. And then Teresi like, I'll excuse myself. He was like, no, Tommy like, no. You can stay. Anything he said in front of you, you can say in front of me. And I'm looking like, Tommy, Ghost already told you, keep Teresi out of y'all business, and you agreed to this. Like, I don't get it. So Ghost was like, well, I can't launder your money for you, Tommy. I'm being audited by the IRS. And Ghost was looking like mad as fuck too when he said that, because he already know Teresi right there. And Tommy was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm being audited. He was like, but your books are clean as fuck. He was like, I know that. And then Teresi like was just standing there listening. He was like, yeah, Ghost need to just stay clean right now. And he's like, I don't need help from you, Teresi, but thank you. He was looking like, Teresi, leave me the fuck alone before I fuck you up too. I don't even want you in here. That's how Ghost was looking. But Tommy ended up just mad, and then Teresi finally excused himself, saying he was going to go see Connie and all that stuff. But he still was walking slow to the door. Listen, you know how people be doing. Eavesdropping, trying to get all the information that they can. But then, and Tommy was mad. He was like, Jason is going to kill me. Like, how am I going to get over this? And he was like, I'm sorry. He's like, you always sorry when you can't do nothing. I'm like, well, what do you expect the man to do? Launder your money, then go to jail because they found some discrepancy within the paper? And as we see, Teresi go meet with Mock and Sachs and mad as hell because they don't order the IRS audit on James's business because Teresi told him that he was laundering money. And Teresi was mad. He was like, why y'all, every single little thing that I do, y'all will stop it. Why y'all won't let me just do the stuff and then get the big fish? And that's how you're going to do it. Like, you can't do every little thing. It's going to stop it. And then they were like, every time we try to do something, you always push it back. And then he was like, no, every little thing, y'all keep doing stuff and stopping, like, the process. Y'all not going to never get any information if y'all keep stopping the stuff, which is kind of true. You can't, every little thing, you can't pounce on it. You got to wait it out. Get as much stuff as you can. And then we have Mark stalking Proctor's ex-wife. Now, he go out inside her meeting, like, what is it, NA meeting? Like the little 12-step program thing. And he telling her how she ain't gonna never see her daughter no more because she'll cokehead and all this stuff. She ain't gonna never get custody unless she help him bring down Proctor. And I'm like, girl, don't fall for this. And she did. Because later on we see him go to the club, his little Proctor's cousin little restaurant or whatever. Why all these Italians always have restaurants to learn their money through? Ain't this crazy? All the mob people always have these restaurants. That's crazy and weird. But he see Proctor leaving out with the cousin, and he's talking about, oh, I thought you didn't associate with this criminal side of the family. And then he was like, you went to my ex-wife. She told you I was Lindsay, didn't she? And then he was like, well, I got you on perjury and all. I said, how you got him on perjury? He could have just said he just started back talking to them. You gonna believe a crackhead person? But anyway, and his cousin wanted to beat him behind, and Proctor like, nah, you don't need to be getting the 5 years that you're gonna get from it. He not even worth it. He was like, well, at least you still give good advice. And he told Proctor he got 48 hours to get him information. I say, Proctor, don't fall for it. Keep your mouth closed. Because they probably do something to your daughter. You know Tommy crazy. Well, Proctor reasoning for going over there was to thank his cousin for cleaning up the apartment. So now we know who cleaned up the apartment with all the blood and the bodies and stuff. The mob people, they know how to clean up real good, that they didn't find anything. So after Proctor leave there, he goes see the ex-wife at the NA meeting thing too. And he gave her alimony check in person, telling her she need to stop this and how she gonna have him, how you gonna tell him where he was at. And she was like, well, you shouldn't have lied on the stand. Like, it ain't no crime to have drinks with your cousin. And then he gave her a little alimony check and it had drugs in there. She threw the drugs back at him and telling him he need to go to hell. She really hope he go to jail now for real, since he was trying to get her hooked back on the drugs. And he picked up the drugs off the ground and hurried up and left. I'm like, Proctor, this is crazy. Don't try to put the lady back on the drugs yet. At least get a lady, if she stay clean, a little bit of leeway. Because I know, like, try to get tired of the foolishness, going through the same emotions over and over and over. Let the daughter old enough to decide who she want to live with. They will put the best interest of the child. If the girl don't want to live with the mama, she ain't going to live with her mama. Like, but don't try to put the lady back on drugs just so you can have custody still. They ain't going to give her custody if she ain't got no damn job. So with Tommy, so he texts Angela to turn on the tracker after he had done put it on Dre's car. And she was prepping Tasha, and Tasha was like, who's that ghost? He's not gonna stay out. She was like, no, it's work. And she ended up was still prepping Tasha. And then she later on that episode, she ended up calling Tommy in the middle of her stakeout. I'm like, what the hell you got? Because Tommy was like, hello. Tommy answered the phone like, who the fuck is this? The number ain't on my phone. That's how Tommy answered the phone. And he was like, Tommy, she was like, why would the fuck you call me? Tommy cussed her out for even calling him. And she was like, well, the tracker, he was like, he said you turn on your little device. He was like, yeah, it's on, but ain't no car here. She was talking about because it's inside. I'm like, Angela, girl, you don't use your brain. They ain't gonna park their cars on the street if they doing illegal activity. And then she seen this flower truck come by. I said, oh, there go the drug truck. And then she see Diego Jimenez, so she started taking pictures and stuff. I said, girl, you gonna get yourself killed out here in these streets with no protection. After the police had already told you to stop. But then we see Tommy and Teresi later on meet up too. Because Teresi had came back to Tommy with the solution of smuggling drugs and paraphernalia in the prison through oodles or noodles. Like it's some part like cut out, you can stick stuff in it. And that's how they were smuggling. I'm like, but wouldn't they know if the top part is open? What they gonna do? Glue it back together? Like, they're gonna look weird if it ain't like the other end of the actual bag. But he ended up saying that Sammy was going to help him. And Tommy was like, Sammy going to help me after the stunt you pulled. And he was like, yeah, I already talked to him. I'm like, Tommy, they setting you up. And as you can see later on, they met in this little alleyway and whatever. And Tommy like was walking ahead of them. And then Sammy was like, I can't believe I agreed to this. And he was like, well, I told her I was going to deliver the feds to him on a silver platter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Tommy. Tommy. Snap out of it. We know you got a daddy now, but all daddies ain't good daddies. So Tasha go back to the house after she's done prepping with Angela, and goes to there. He trying to apologize to her. And she was like, where's all this coming from? He was like, when you kicked me out, I went to go see the pastor, and he told me, I told him I wanted to be a changed man, a better man, and all this stuff. He was like, I felt like my hand was on the trigger when I put it. She was like, no, you're not going to do this. This is typical Ghost. Always making it about you. And then she was like, he was like, he was trying to be better and all this. She was like, he want forgiveness. She was like, forgive you? She was like, oh, no. And he was like, the promise that he made to them when he got married, that he was going to always protect them, but he became the thing that they need to be protected from. I said, oh, that's a good metaphor. And Tasha looked like she was kind of believing it, but she really wanted him to prove to her what he's actually saying. But she didn't come out and say that. She just got up and walked away. He was trying to grab her, and she walked away. Oh, and before she walked away, he asked her, he was like, how you know you can trust Angela with this information? And she was like, because I know she still loves you. And after Tasha had walked away or whatever, he went to go see Angela. He was just talking to her, asking her why would she keep coming to his rescue. And she was like, I don't know. He was like, asked her if she still loved him. And she was like, yeah. And they end up sitting down, looking in each other's eyes, all lovey-dovey, and kissing each other. And then he pulled away, and she was shocked that he actually pulled away. And he was like, maybe you would actually believe me and trust me if I actually change. And he walked out the door, because it is a typical thing. Every time he get mad at Tasha or something not going his way, he go run into Angela. And that was always the pattern, and he continuing the same pattern. So he's not really changing. I'm assuming that's why he said if he actually changed, because that's the typical pattern that they always been going through. And after he leaves from Angela, he goes see Tate. And he was telling Tate about how he's sorry and he happy he brought Dre on board and he's not going to disappoint him and all this stuff. And Tate was like, you don't believe that bullshit, right? And I'm like, at least he called him out on it. And then goes sweeten the pot. He was talking about he was going to offer $50,000 for something. I forgot what it was. And Tate accepted the apology then. He's all about the money. Every single thing is about the money. He accepted the little apology then. And he told him that he needed to work on some stuff or some junk like that. And then afterwards, we see him meeting with Dre. And he actually told Dre it'd be better off if they actually worked together. And Dre was like, what do you mean, Ghost? He was like, I'll talk to the bastard to get you your job back and waive the non-compete clause. He was like, you think it's going to work? He said everything can be negotiable. Everything can be negotiated. And he ended up telling him he wanted him to do something for him. And then Dre was like, I knew it was a catch. And he told Dre that he wanted him to kill Jason. And he was like, what? Tommy's connect? He was like, yeah. He was like, it'll benefit both of you. And I guess Dre went to thinking that it would benefit. He was like, okay, I want you to kill Diego Jimenez. And Ghost was like, okay. Well, he didn't say okay, but he gave him that assurance that he would. So that was that. So they got their little agreement. They're going to be working together and all that stuff. And then Dre little meeting with Alicia. Now they had Arturo. He told Arturo before the meeting even started, do what I say and you'll leave out here alive. So Arturo was sitting there like he was all shaking or whatever. I guess trying to play the role or whatever. So Arturo, he told Arturo to tell Alicia what happened. And then he's like, when my cousin Uriel was alive, he told me that you would come to the warehouse dressed in a maid uniform, do pop-up visits and all that stuff, and you planted Diego's gun. And I'm like, why would he admit this to Alicia like she just can't kill him? That's what I was thinking in my head. And then and she was like, what? And then Dre walked up to Alicia and started talking, because Alicia had told him previously to find somebody else to blame for the gun thing when he told him about Diego popping up on him, blaming him for the gun. So she was like, I have somebody that's want to get rid of Diego. I can stop it if you want me to stop it, or you can let it play out. And she was like, let it play out. And I'm like, ain't this about to be, girl, you about to kill your own brother. So He walked back and he was yelling out, "This motherfucker can't be trusted." And then he was talking about Arturo. And Alicia, she told her boys to take care of it. So they just bust 2 bottles. And I'm like, they finna beat him to death? So they bust 2 bottles, put alcohol over him. And then she flicked her cigarette. Because like when Arturo had told her originally what happened, she started speaking in Spanish. And Dre was like, what she said? She was like, she needed a cigarette. She flicked her cigarette and they lit Arturo on fire. And I'm like, child, really, Arturo? Well, at least Dre got his loose ends killed, because remember he made Arturo take the rap for the murder that Two-Bit did. So now it ain't no thing unless Two-Bit run his mouth, and it can't trace back to Dre them. But they burnt Arturo alive. I said, oh my God, they could have just shot the man. They made that man suffer like that. I can imagine it's nothing like being burnt alive. Then we get Tasha. She finally goes down to the interrogation. And who's interrogating her? Blanca Rodriguez. And she was like, where's Detective so-and-so? I guess the man who mainly on the case. She was like, oh, he's off today. I said, they planned this perfectly. And then she's coming in there, she talking, she interrogating. She trying to make Tasha think that Ghost and Angela's working together, because she was like, Angela's the one who found the bullet. She didn't tell you that? And he was asking, and she was thinking it, well, she's just doing flashback how Angela was telling her she found the bullet. But Angela did find the bullet, but Angela didn't know it was Tasha's gun. And then she was asking about how Angela knew her. She was like, she just knew Rayno. Maybe she thought she trying to help. And she was telling about Ghost and Angela having an affair. She was like, none that I know of. And then she was like, and Tasha was like, well, somebody saw me I put the gun in the closet. Like, so many people were in and out of the apartment. Anybody could have taken the gun. And then she was like, well, you got to corroborate who you think saw you put the gun there. And then she was like, my attorney. She was like, Detarius Silver. I'm like, Detarius? Oh, child, the ghetto. No wonder he go by Terry Silver. How you going to try to act all high and mighty with a name like Detarius? But she lied and said Terry saw her put it in there. And I'm like, girl, why would you lie? You know, Terry be walking a tightrope. Like, I don't know, but she didn't crack. Even all this stuff Blanca was trying to throw at her, she didn't crack. She was like, my husband didn't kill anybody. And I'm like, Tasha, girl. Was she telling the truth? Ghost didn't do it. Tariq did. So Tasha come home, she's storming in there. She mad as hell. And then they asking her like, how I go? She was like, they think you two are working together and y'all trying to frame me. And Tasha was like, Ghost like, what? She was like, yeah. And then she was like, Tasha, Angela was like, who interrogated you? She was like, I don't know, some NYPD bitch. She was like, Blanca. She was like, Blanca Rodriguez. She was like, so you know? And she was like, this is about you, Angela. They trying to take you down. And then Angela finally realized that that's probably what they're trying to do, because she's inside information and all that stuff. And then they was like, what happened? She was like, they offered me immunity. She said, immunity. So that means it's like higher ups going through this. And they was like, why didn't you take immunity? She said, because it wouldn't protect Tariq. And it really wouldn't, because that's what they're doing all this for, is to protect Tariq. And Tariq don't give a fuck. And then Ghost was like, let me handle it. And she was like, I'll handle it. She was like, what you gonna do? She was like, I'll get Terry Silver to lie for me. And Ghost was like, why would he do that? And she was like, because he loves me more than you ever did. I said, girl. And Ghost really looked shook. I don't think he actually knew that Tasha would be with Silver. Like, he probably was shocked as hell. He probably started thinking, maybe that's why Silver was just mad at me, hate me and all this stuff, because of my wife. But he didn't really react. I guess because Angela was standing there too. He didn't react. And Tasha ended up leaving. And then him and Angela ended up talking about they don't need to be going down this road anymore. And if they do, Tasha needs to know everything up front, and they can't be like sneaking and stuff. And then he basically told her he don't think they need to go down that road. Angela agreed. She probably just agreed so she wouldn't have egg on her face, because she was like, about the other night. That's how this conversation came about. But I'm like, girl, Angela, you looking crazy about it. You done lost your man. You about to lose your job. And right when it was about to go off, Tamika walked in and told him that this whole thing was off with James and Ghost and Angela and all them stuff. So that she wanted them to stop. And then Sachs found the paper of the ballistic report, because you know it was deleted out of the computer, but they still had the actual paper. And I'm like, Angela, why didn't you shred the paper or something? Like, I don't get it. But they was like, she buried the report. Why would she bury the report? So that means she a part of this organization. And they took her picture and put it on the pile with all the criminals, everybody who was involved with this case. They put Angela's picture right down there. So they about to take Angela down. Well, at least try to. But I don't understand, why wouldn't she delete the hard copy? You know, they probably had paper copies. She deleted the computer, but they got a paper copy. So I don't get it. I don't get why she would keep that part of it instead of deleting the whole thing. So that's my review on Season 5, Episode 6 of Power, a Changed Man. If you think I forgot anything, leave a comment down below. If you have any of your questions or concerns, leave it down below. All my social media are down below. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, share this video, like this video. And thank you for watching me. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.